Okay, so Civil War. Everyone's got an opinion on this one. And you all wanted more than just the surface level stuff. You wanted to really dig in.
A deep dive.
Exactly. And we've got the goods, right? IMDb, reviews galore, even some behind-the-scenes stuff about how they made the film.
Yeah, it's interesting. Such a buzz around this one, but the reactions are all over the map.
Totally. Like IMDb, right?
Excellent.
It says, dystopian future America, journalists racing against time. Sounds kind of like a typical action thriller, you know?
Yeah, at first glance, maybe. But then you see these user reviews, they're like,
Yeah.
not the explosive war extravaganza A24 wants you to think it is. Something like that.
Right. And that just makes you wonder even more, especially with Alex Garland directing. I mean, this is the Ex Machina guy, Annihilation. Not exactly known for simple action flicks.
Right. Garland, he's all about that sci-fi that gets in your head, you know? Those big questions, what makes us human, all that. So to see him do Civil War...
Yeah. Makes you think, is he really going full action?
Oh.
Or is there something more going on beneath the surface?
Ooh, I like that. Beneath the surface. Which, speaking of surfaces, we got to talk about this whole journalism thing. The film's got these embedded journalists, but the reviews are saying totally different things. Some say it's like glorifying the profession. Others say it's a critique.
It's wild, right? Like he's using this super familiar thing, the embedded journalist, but making us ask, like, how are we even getting this information, especially during something like a war?
So it's not just about the story, it's about how it's being shown to us. Exactly. Are these journalists supposed to be the good guys giving us the unbiased truth? Or are they part of the problem? Are they being used? Are we being used? It's like he's asking us that.
Wow, okay, now that is a good question, and I bet a lot of people watching wouldn't even think about that. So how do we even begin to unpack that?
Well, we could start with how Garland pulls us into the movies world. Like, remember the thing about him using real blanks for the gunfire?
Oh yeah, that was interesting. Talk about realism, huh? But I gotta admit, I didn't really get how that fit into everything else.
It's subtle, but think about it. You're on set, those explosions are deafening, it goes right through you. It's not like the clean, fake violence we usually see in movies.
Yeah, big difference between seeing it and feeling it, right?
Totally. And that's Garland, I think. He wants us to connect to that intensity, even if it's through a camera lens, to feel like we're there.
Which reminds me of all those reviews mentioning the visuals. Some talk about that amazing forest fire scene. Others focused on how brutal the violence was. Like, they saw totally different things.
That's Garland's style, though, right? Beauty and ugliness right next to each other, like he's showing us everything good and bad. About ourselves, I mean.
So is he saying even in all that destruction, there's still beauty? Or is it more like a comment on how we destroy things?
That's the question, isn't it? And that's why this movie is so interesting. It's not easy answers. It's these stark contrasts he throws at you, and you have to figure out what it all means. He doesn't hide the ugly stuff, but he shows us those little bits of beauty too, you know, and the chaos.
You said before, Garland likes those big questions about what makes us human. Is this his way of exploring that? The beauty and the ugly, creation, destruction?
I think you're right. It's like he's saying that's just part of who we are. We can create amazing things, but we can be incredibly destructive too. And maybe Civil War, the title, the whole theme, it's showing us that struggle on a huge scale.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing this film totally differently now. It's like we're not just watching a story, we're being forced to think about how stories are even told. Man, a lot to unpack with this one. But we got to ask, with all this deep stuff, is the movie even any good? Because the reviews, they're kind of everywhere.
See, that's the thing with movies that try something different. They're not going to be for everyone, you know. Civil War seems like one of those that really sticks with you. But love it or hate it, that's a whole other thing.
For sure. IMDb's got it at a 7 out of 10, which isn't bad, but yeah, those reviews, some people are bored out of their minds, others are seeing it made them think, how can that even be the same movie?
It's those expectations again. Like we were saying before, right? Go in expecting just another action movie, you'll probably be disappointed. This one's not about easy answers or like just explosions and stuff.
Right. It's more about making you uncomfortable, asking questions.
Exactly. It wants you to really think about what you're seeing, who to trust even. Those hard truths about us, you know, about the world.
Which, speaking of hard truths, what about that thing on IMDb, the crazy credits part? It mentioned something about a pink noise calibration test during the logos at the start.
Yeah. See, that's Garland messing with us. Before the movie even really starts, like he's saying what you see and hear, don't just assume it's the truth. It's a hint almost.
Pay attention, he's saying. Like he wants us to be his kind of detail-oriented as he is when he's making the film.
Yeah, and that makes Civil War one of those movies that really stays with you, makes you think afterwards.
So basically, Civil War, it's not just about war. It's about how we see things, how stories get told, even about how messed up conflict really is.
It asks the questions, doesn't give many answers. But that's how it gets us talking, right? Makes us look at our own selves even. Makes us better viewers in the end.
And isn't that what good art is supposed to do? Make you think. Speaking of, one last thought. The film's called Civil War, but it happens in America in the future. I think that's just a random choice. Or is Garland saying something about us right now, about how divided things already are, something to chew on?